Ho lasciato il paese che pioveva. I left my village, my 2 sisters and my daughter. My mama, buonanima, used to say, "Uè, Loretta, la vita ti dà e ti piglia, non c'è tempo per piangere, no time for tears. I pray la Madonna del Loreto for my daughter and our future. Se tutto va bene, in a year or 2 my daughter will join me. She will go to school and learn English." Che freddo.
My name is Gloria. I was born at the very beginning of World War II, which was not a very pleasant time, and I feel that I was born just about 3 weeks after my grandfather, uncle and great-uncle and uncle all went drowned in the Arundora Star. So I was brought up in a very big shadow of disaster in the family and disaster to the Italians. But in my childhood, I think lack of money did come into it, but lack of opportunities for a lot of people came into it. But I was fortunate enough to go to ballet school, and my sister was lucky to go to art college because you were getting grants then, and which did make an awful difference.
I came to the cemetery earlier this morning. It's 18 years since my mom died, the day of my birthday. Well, my father had to leave. My mom said, vai avanti, Pietro, dai, vai avanti. È il futuro della nostra famiglia, it's the future for our family. Vai avanti, dai, che quando ti manca il sole dell'Italia, if you miss you the Italian sun, I will come and I'll bring it to you. Ce l'ha portato il sole dell'Italia. She brought me. I came to the cemetery early this morning to tell her che io non me lo scordo come ci sono arrivata. I don't forget. I was born Scottish, ma la capa dura è tutta italiana. This one is Italian. Che ci vogliamo fare se la capa dura è tutta italiana? Because I'm Scottish and I'm Italian. È più forte di noi, ci abbiamo la testa dura e il sangue bollente. Un sangue così bollente che oggi c'è un piano per
Wars are very disruptive, not just for the person that goes away or the woman, but for the children, because children are brought up without the male member of the family. So home life was not what you would say happy, really. And then when my father came back from the army, the first time I really saw him, I was 5. And I was always told, my father's coming back, my uncles are coming back. And when he did, I was just not disappointed, but I didn't like the fact that there were men in the house because you were used to women. And that's a huge thing when you're a child, that you heard about these men, but you didn't know who they were. And so life was not... you weren't glorified by the fact your father had returned. Not really. He was like, no, not a threat, but I didn't know him. And he didn't know me, and he didn't know my brother and sister.
A tragedy! Can you imagine closing the shop on Sundays? Ma la domenica è il giorno più buono! And they don't ask to close the shop. Who told them the ice cream was a sin? God! Dio! It's ugly. Uglier than hunger. We came here because our families were struggling. Hunger. Hunger is difficult to explain. But war? How can I explain war to this creature? Angelo now is 3 months old, and he hasn't met his father yet. My husband is in Italy, at the mountains, fighting against the Austrians. On Sundays at church, we are only women, Scots and Italians. We all have shaking hands, and our heart seems Jesus' heart, con tutte le spine intorno. We light candles to Our Lady with shaking hands. And we cradle our children with shaking hands.
Do it again to the beginning.
We were brought up, I would think, in a pretty difficult time because of the war, because Britain, of course, was at war with Italy, Italy being on the other side with Germany. So it wasn't a pleasant childhood, I would think, because you had all the men away fighting in the war, but my father was an alien fighting in the war, although he was born in Edinburgh. So you had a conflicting life of being Scottish but being Italian and being taken as foreign. But I would say our young life was definitely endorsed by the fact we were Italian. And my mother always said, don't say anything, because not only were we Italian, but we were Catholic. And Catholics in Scotland were not very welcome either. My father came back to work in his father's shop, who had drowned in the Arundora Star. I don't think we can look back quite favourably. Then my father, he never recovered from the death of his father and his brother-in-law and his uncle, not really. I think that had a huge... Then they were whipped into jail. My father was in jail. And it's only now I can see he was only 33. That's young. That's young.
Onore, famiglia e patria! Honor, family and motherland! Mussolini, he's the new Prime Minister of Italy. He's the one who called us Italians for the first time. My husband says that the fascio will bring us some respect here in Scotland. E lui è quello che ha bisogno, il rispetto della gente.
Respect? What does this man know about respect, honor, family, and motherland? To me, my honor is my family, and my family is my motherland.
Benito. I don't like the name, I don't like the man, non mi piace niente, ostia, questo porta guai, he will make troubles, and I don't need troubles!
And I've still got my grandmother's machine that I'll show you. You know, I've got the old-fashioned, and they're lovely. Making spaghetti was a very, well, I'm saying spaghetti, was a very big thing in the household. It seemed to take the whole evening. And my grandmother, the proverbial up to her elbows in flour, that was lovely. And my mother always said she couldn't cook, but my mum cooked very well, really. But you didn't have the ingredients. You couldn't buy all the Italian ingredients when I was young. It wasn't, you couldn't just go to the supermarket because there wasn't such a thing. The supermarkets were just the corner shops. I was young. My mother was never in Italy, which I think is a shame. And my father was only there when he was 3. He never went back to Italy. They never had money to go. And my grandmother always said to me, oh, this is Italy, and Italy is this. Italy is wonderful. So I was brought up in thinking Italy was wonderful, and which indeed it is. So in 1970, after I was married and had the children, I said, I want to see Italy. And the thing that strikes me was driving, because we had a car, driving and coming across the signpost which said Atina. And I thought, I'm here. Sorry. And going to Vitico's, it was huge. I'm sorry. I am Gloria, I'm not Scottish. I am Gloria, I am not Italian. I am Gloria, who is neither one nor the other.
Melodie.